Welcome to Love Conquers, where I dive into the complexities of life and relationships. I'm your host, Lahruti, and today we're tackling the age-old question, does motherhood suck? As someone who's navigated the ups and downs of motherhood myself, I can't wait to explore this topic with you. Motherhood is undoubtedly one of the most rewarding experiences, but it's also filled with challenges. From sleepless nights to endless to-do lists, the struggle can feel overwhelming at times. But it's essential to recognize that these challenges are valid and that mothers deserve support as they navigate them. As a mother myself, I faced my fair share of challenges, from juggling multiple responsibilities to dealing with societal pressures. One of the things I know I struggled with was what I call the postpartum effect. Now, this is my term to describe what happened to me. I believe now it was postpartum anxiety. I laugh at it now, and my friends laugh at me because, well, you'll see why. So, I was going through the motions of labor. I asked for the epidural, and I got a lumbar puncture. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, basically when they were injecting the epidural, I'm not sure what that gentleman was going through, but I guess he was trying to do it multiple times, and he ended up puncturing where the spinal fluid goes, and I instantly got a headache. And the nurse was like, "You have a headache?" And her eyes just widened. That's honestly, my labor was so choppy in terms of memory that that's what I remember. So after I gave birth, the headache intensified and I couldn't even lift my head up. I could, but it felt so heavy and the headaches would just intensify. Now, when I laid back down, the headaches would subside. So I told my nurse after they moved me to my room, and she's like, "Well, you may have to get a procedure, but we'll have to ask." I was just so over it because labor is traumatizing in itself, especially with the pains. So she's like, I'm like, I don't want another procedure. Like, this is too much. So she said, "Okay, let's get you some pain medication." We tried Tylenol, that didn't help. Then we tried oxycodone. Oxycodone, although it subsided the headaches a little bit, it made me loopy. I said, yeah, I can't do this. We're just going to have to do the procedure." But I let them know I'm scared. So she said, "Okay." That's when the director of anesthesiology came down, and he kind of explained to me detail by detail, step by step. And the way he spoke, I'll never forget him. I still have his number in my phone. He was just very calm and very reassuring. So I said, "Okay." And then basically they did what they call a blood patch. They took blood from my arm and they injected it back where the epidural was. And my headaches went away. However, I couldn't make major movements. I couldn't even hold my son. So you guys can imagine, just even with labor being traumatizing and so much hard work, I was so happy to see my son, but sad at the same time. He was in the NICU because he was born premature. And then I had to go through all of that. So, on top of that, I was going through hypertension throughout my whole pregnancy and even after. And I think that intensified my fears because women of color aren't really much heard in the medicine world. It's a whole thing. It's to the point where I even got statistics so I can share with you guys. And it's from the CDC, where they say Black women have the highest maternal mortality rate in the United States. 69.9 per 100,000 live births, for 2021, almost 3 times the rate for white women, according to the CDC. So you guys already know. I was going through panic attacks. I didn't even know. It was one visit to the ER where I went. And the guy who was there said, well, I wouldn't say guy, he was a nurse. He said, did you not notice that when you come to the ER, your symptoms subside? And that's when I smacked my head and I said, I'm legit going through a panic attack. I didn't even know. It felt like a damn heart attack. So, there are things that we go through as mothers, postpartum depression. And here's another statistics from Mayo Clinic. Untreated postpartum depression can last for months or longer, sometimes becoming an ongoing depressive disorder. Mothers may stop breastfeeding, have problems bonding with their babies, and increase the risk of suicide. So we have to, and for those of you who know mothers, men, women, please check on your moms. And I do want to say this too. Shout out to the women who go through infant loss, who are trying IVFs. You are a mother too. I know that sometimes we may not recognize you as mothers because you didn't carry or whatnot, or you weren't able to go through the waves of motherhood. You guys are mothers. I also want to shout out stepmoms as well, or bonus moms. You guys are mothers as well, even if you have or don't have your own children. I'm a stepmother myself, and it's one of the most rewarding things ever. And, we do need to talk about that. We need to make this a conversation. We are superheroes. We wear multiple hats. And if we don't talk about that, if we don't show our support, there are risks to that. And I give kudos even to my single mothers. I know I have a support system and I'm very grateful. So for my single mothers out there, I shout you out as well. Because honestly, I would have been crumpled up in a corner crying because it's a lot. So the best advice I can give is enjoy your pregnancy. If you're going through your pregnancy, you are not alone. For those of you who are single mothers, you are not alone. For those of you going through IVF or have gone through infant loss, you're not alone. It's essential that we create a space for mothers to feel seen and supported in their struggles. Despite the challenges, motherhood also brings immense joy and fulfillment. The bond between a mother and her child is unlike any other. And witnessing your child's milestones and accomplishments can fill your heart with pride. Some of my most cherished memories are the simple moments spent with my children, whether it's cuddling up with a book or exploring nature together. And that means going to the park. These moments remind me of the beauty and magic of motherhood. I have 2 children, my son and my bonus daughter. They have strong personalities. I wonder where they got that from. There's something about seeing them accomplish things that just brings joy. And one of the things that I've often seen is, seeing them explore the world. And you also remembering how you were at that age is fulfilling. You want to do things with them that you weren't able to do when you were a child. And seeing them smile and seeing them just become these humans, it's the best feeling. So when you see your children smile, when you know that they love you unconditionally, it's just a indescribable feeling. And I know that there are challenges, and I know that, but once you see them, it's like those challenges are worth it, So I know that I'm talking a lot about the complexes of motherhood and the difficulties, but it is necessary to talk about these things and give space for that. But when you see your kids, I don't know how to describe it, and I'm sure you guys don't know how to describe it. And when we see news on social media, we're just like, how can someone do that to their own child? And it's because of that pure, unconditional love. So we're going to move on to addressing how complex motherhood is. And it's essential to recognize that it's okay to feel a mix of emotions. Society often portrays motherhood in black and white, but the reality is far from that. It's okay to struggle and it's okay to ask for help. One of the things I know I struggled with was asking for help. And we can say it's pride, but I can also say that it's because I was so independent and I was just, I don't know, my own superhero. I can do anything type of thing that when you raise another human being or when you have another child, you need that support system, no matter how that looks like. So just get into the mindset of you matter too. So if you have to repeat that to yourself, I matter too, because we often lose ourselves as mothers because we're too busy taking care of another human being who needs us. So just get into that space and also understand that people will give their opinion. But when you close that door, that's when it's time for you and that child. And you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. And just know it's a learning curve for everybody. You're learning as you go. There's no manual on how to do this. So whether it's time for you to carve out for yourself each day or leaning on your support system and network when you need it the most, find what works for you. That is what's key. Motherhood is a journey and it's essential to find your own path. So one of the things I can say is navigate this world of motherhood and find moments of fulfillment, find moments for self-care. Now, I know for a fact that I had to tell myself, you need time for yourself. And one of the things I started doing was, hey, I'm going to take an hour for myself. Now, I take an hour to journal, read my Bible, or read a book. So many of you can do that. Many of you who like to dance can take time to dance, have a little dance party. Take your time in the bathroom, wash your face, do your skincare routine. Anything that's going to fulfill that part of you, of your identity. So, mi gente, that brings me to the end of today's episode. I hope you've gained some insight into the complexities of motherhood and perhaps found some comfort in knowing that you're not alone in your struggles. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences, so don't hesitate to reach out. You can leave a comment, you can DM me, you can follow me on Instagram at @laruti_, on TikTok, Instagram, I think I repeated that. But as always, and until next time, remember to embrace each moment, and love conquers all.